Hey YouTube, so I finally decided to make a video about this because I realized how much after a decade this affects me, affects the interior landscape of my mind, my mental activity, my everyday thoughts, and I don't know, maybe someone else is like, definitely there are some people who are like dealing with the same. I find it interesting how different like PTSD can be for different like traumas or people. Like a soldier coming home from like any war probably went through way longer lasting and more traumatizing stuff than my one-time event, which is really bad and horrible in itself. But they are at least actively removed from the environment that traumatized them. They went home to their home and they're not in the war zone anymore. For me, it's just was a one-time event, but there I'm still in the same environment, and I often kind of re-trigger that, oh, this could happen with me again, and the mental activity like starts. So the situation happened in 2012, October 2nd or 2nd of October, between 1 hour and 2 a.m. So I was a college student, and I went at a party just like college students do, had a couple of beers. Then after like midnight, I decided to go home, and on the tram, on the way home, I met this guy I met a couple of times. Hey, how are you? Let's have another drink at this bar that we both know and like. So we went to the bar, which at that time, I knew it as a student bar, so it's an okay bar. We sat down at the long table in the middle, and there were like long benches at the both sides, and facing this guy talking, chilling guy. It's interesting how I was remembered my bullied past, and I was thinking how chill life is and how I'm just out here comfortable around people, not kind of knowing what will happen the next minutes. So unbeknownst to me, and I wasn't even bothered by it, there was like a loud problematic group like left of me, and this idiot guy, somehow they like moving the bench under me didn't bother me, but this idiot guy I was with, who was a smaller guy, upsetly told them like, hey, you shouldn't mess with the bench. And so this group was like two off-duty bouncers with their girlfriends. One guy was like same height as me. I'm 188, 92 kilograms at the time. Same height as me, slightly more muscular. And the other guy was like shorter than me, bald, slightly chubbier, like tribal tattoo. So they went really aggressive with this guy that who are they like talking to, and I was like, oh my god, there will be a fight broke out, they beat up the guy or something, and I calmly interfered like, hey, it's okay, calm down, we don't have any trouble, we're sorry. And they just like forgot about the guy, and all the aggression came at me. Like I wasn't even like aggressive, I calmly interfered, and all the aggression came at me. And so they were like telling me like, hey, how dare you interfere? Who are you to interfere? Are you a tough guy? Stuff like that. The muscular guy was like kind of like chill about it, like I don't give a shit, I'm kind of. But the chubby guy was like really aggressive, and I just repeatedly, panically told him, no, I'm not tough. Calm down. I don't want any trouble. Just desperately trying to de-escalate the situation, and I'm panicking, man, because these guys, like I said, they were off-duty bouncers. Two of them, even one was like more muscular than me, and so they definitely had the vibe of that they are experienced violence, and they definitely were in the mood for it. And there I am, like I said, I'm not a small guy or anything, or I have muscles, but I'm definitely not this like let's have a fight, let's have some blood provocation type of guy who enjoys this. And I definitely had, unfortunately, some situations where there were just provocation, but I'm not proud of it. It's like really awkward, but I've got this adrenaline dump type of thing when you just get so filled up with adrenaline, and this hormonal cocktail that you get in danger was so horrible that when you're like fighting, like not shitting yourself, this never happened, thank God or anything, but you're shaking like a leaf. You wish you wouldn't be there. You're really afraid. Blood goes out from your arms and legs. You feel numb, and motor functions are like absolutely horrible. And although in those situations, I was really upset that, oh my god, if there was like a fight broke out, they punch me, I'm just numb and can't do stuff about it. And I was like really afraid that this would happen here. Uh, and like I said, they would just wouldn't calm down. And so that's my best attempts. I feel like this guy was addicted to violence or something. He got this spur of like the aggressive guy, the chubby one. He got this spur of like provocation, and he was like upset that I wanted to de-escalate the situation. It's like an addict when you're like alcoholic and you have this thought like, oh, this trigger that I want to drink some alcohol, and you don't want to like go back and just eventually drink it. So he just got up and eventually punched me. And man, that sudden shift in my mindset, going from absolutely terrified, afraid, that I'll rip off his head, man. Like, I got so angry in a split second that I got up and just punched his face repeatedly. Like, he didn't then had the punch to. He didn't have the chance to punch me again because of just like 5 to 10 seconds I went all out war against his face. And so it's interesting because, I was so afraid, and logically there were two against me, and just completely lost it there. And which in a way wasn't smart, but yeah. Then they separated us, and the actual security came in. Let's get out, all of you. And the guy was like, "How dare you punch back, you piece of shit? Yeah, let's get out. Let's get this handled. Let's see how tough you are with your full sleeve tattoo." And so at this point, so in retrospect, for years, I was just actually really angry about myself, upset on myself, and kind of interpreted with this situation with my bullied past. That I felt like this happened with me because, like I said, or like you can assume that I got really beat up and actually stabbed eventually in the situation. So I felt like this happened because I'm a target. Um, that this whole thing that as soon as I interfered, they left alone the small guy, and I was the big guy who was visibly eventually afraid. And I felt like this guy attacked me because he thought that it will be an easy glory punching a big guy who won't do stuff about it. And there are like multiple layers of self-defense, and so one important layer that you actually able to defend yourself. But one layer before that, and I come with a Cold War example. If you ever watched Chernobyl, Gorbachev says that our power comes from our perception of power, and the Soviet Union was like really good at propaganda, and the West was thought that they were losing the war, and they like making nuclear rockets like sausages. That's what Khrushchev said. That if you're able to convince your opponent that you're tough and you're like business and you shouldn't mess with you, then problem solved. Then you won't get attacked, and you defend it yourself in a way. And that I was upset about myself for feeling so afraid, that being a type of person who could get adrenaline dump, that I seem like the guy who could be attacked like that, and that's why he attacked me. And trying to de-escalate the situation, being afraid, telling them I'm not tough, I felt like if I have confidence, I kind of like challenge them and invite a fight to happen. And if I, not act tough, then they just leave me alone. But it seems like he just got that, oh, he could just attack me and punch me, nothing will happen. And I don't know if you can be sure that if I would act like really confident and able to act confident, maybe that would deter him to like not attack me. So I don't know if he would know that he will eventually in this situation. What little bit makes me at least feel better that I heard that when the police eventually found them, their face was bruised up too. So I don't know if he would punch me if he know that he will get hurt too, not just like easy glory. And the second thing in the situation, like I said, security came in, let's get out. The guy tells me, yeah, let's get out, let's dishandle. Uh, so it really makes me upset, both kind of like eventually in the court, people analyzing the situation, and all these like smart and outside captains who just heard about how events unfolded, and they are talking from a position of safety, telling you, oh, you stupid, you should have done this or that. Well, thank you, man. Like, be in that high stress thing. Like, I was dealing with something. I've been in like high school bully fights or something that are like, you don't really get hurt. I was dealing with actually like I was stabbed in a situation. I felt the vibe of that guy. These guys are dangerous. You're under high level of stress. You're under fear. You're filled with adrenaline, and adrenalinized state is just it really strips you. You're kind of just good at performing one task, but performing it very, very, very. So when I got punched, all I could think of is I rip off his head, right, man. So and you're really not good in switching gears, or it strips you the creativity of like being able to think like, oh, how could I solve this situation? And when this guy tells me, let's get out, let's get this handle, and the bouncers, actually on duty bouncers, let's get out, go out. It just all I can think of, oh my god, I'm in trouble. Because unfortunately, my attack didn't like knock him out or anything. So I'm in trouble. This guy will, out of anger, like wants to beat the shit out of me. And now I definitely can't shit myself. I definitely can't be in this adrenaline dump state. There's him and me. All that's all I could think of, and I didn't even occur to me that I could just run away or tell the actual bouncers that hey, he wants to continue the fight, let's call the police, I stay in, let's get them out, or something to solve the situation way easier. I was just straight out him and me, and unfortunately my mind blocked out the other guy who in the provocation is definitely looked like he could join things. So I was like kind of obeyed this order of going out, really like just not knowing what else to do, bracing myself that there will be a fight. And I was like thinking, I pretty much attacked him like in a way he couldn't like punch back. I just have to repeat this and I might walk home safely. So I go out, guy goes first. He turns around, kind of jumps a bit, and goes start to attack me. And bam, I just knocked him down like with one punch. And later, the investigator who I watched the footage with, he was like, "Hey, nice punch." But also just knock him down, didn't knock him out. And the other guy, the buff guy behind me, just immediately attacked me from behind. And like I said, I just like completely blocked him out in my mind. And he was doing K1, which is like some martial art, like it's like MMA or something. He really attacked me, and I just like completely got off guard by just all the punches. And he like high kicked my face. And also interesting about this adrenaline state, that then for the next 1 year it didn't occur to me that I was fighting two people. That's how I was like blocked out, just focusing one guy mentally. So yeah, while I was kicked, the other guy obviously got upset that he got knocked down again, got out a knife. I got like on the floor, and that's I guess when he stabbed me. I got stabbed in the back, my arm, and I had this slash on my stomach, which actually looks pretty cool. Uh, my mom said like I should remove it, and I'm like, if I had to go through this like traumatic experience to get it, like at least I keep it. Um, but so when I'm with a girl, first time she sees me, when things get fun, and that's kind of when she asks, "Oh, what is this?" When we have should have fun, it's kind of like turns me off a little bit, so that's not good. So yeah, I got stabbed. I was on the floor, then I stood up and still like attacked them back. I was like in this. Uh, I had this meme masculine urge to die in a battle, or like if you wanna beat me up, then you're gonna have your share too. Like I won't get myself easy, filled with adrenaline and stuff. And then I got knocked down, maybe lost consciousness, I don't know. And the ambulance took me. I got stabbed. I had my jaw broken here, this connective thing, and this bone here got broken, and I looked horrible, like just big, you know, swelling. And the next day, the other layer of trauma happened. The whole police case, and how the police, like, kind of the judges. So how I had to defend myself on my actions. Um, so an investigator or some guy from the police came in to listen, like, what happened. And I did tell them like I was desperately trying to de-escalate the situation, and I couldn't. And I told him that he punched me, and I don't know how I said it, like I went on him. I'm like immediately attacked back. And he was like, "Oh, whoa, 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 that sounds incriminatory for you. You should like say that you panicked and stuff like that." And I was like, "Are you kidding me? Are you expecting me to be like a robot, or what? Like, if you get punched, you turn angry. Like, that they seriously tell me that I should be a robot and I get punched, and like, it's not just that I have to go through all the fear and all these uncomfortable emotions and having some unrighteous like happening with me, but I should like, I I can't punch back. And we are, even though I'm a civilized person and definitely didn't wanted this, and I did my duty verbally to try to de-escalate the situation, getting punched is, I read it in a book about forgiveness, that when you get punched or attacked, your neural pathways to the counter attack and the muscles get activated before you could like become aware of it. So like, I don't know what this guy was talking about, because later I found that there was a term for this, heat of passion, that, but I didn't know at the time, and it just, this whole trauma about what he said, like, gave added that, well, I got beaten up, but if you don't let yourself like beaten up so easily, then, oh, this was just a bar fight. because like 1 year later, they actually called me in to like have another testimony, and the guy greeted me that, oh, even you can be incriminated in this situation. You were in the when we went out from the place, you very dynamically went out like you want some like fight, and I was like, dude, I was like fighting with not cheating myself, like. And then I was worried that I punched first out the outside. Of course, when you know that they want to attack you so violently, last thing you want to know, it's like wait for the first punch happening. Like I was like, I made a uh, defensive attack, like trying to prevent the whole thing. And so I punched first, and I was even worried like about admitting that there was like surveillance. So admitting that I punched first because I was like, I really got under this impression that literally they treated, and the guy said that, yeah, this was a bar fight and you just lost because I didn't, I fought back, like, because you get angry when you get punched, especially outside when I get punched so violently, stabbed, like I stood up and still attacked them. It's just I really gave me in this impression. And while the reason I'm really really upset and filled with anger, that they got off without nothing. The chubby guy got 10 months of jail, but with like suspended sentences of probation. So technically no jail. The muscular guy got 5 months and also like probation. So they got up without nothing, and I was the one who had to defend myself. Oh, if you get punched, you can't punch back. You can't be a biological being and obviously turn back. And so it really got me this added trauma that I feel today that if I'm get provoked or attacked or some situation like this, and I just had to be worried about not getting hurt. I have to be worried how I defend myself and how it comes up and you know that if I anytime I lose my cool, which is when something righteous or you get attacked, it's a natural part of it. Uh, that I have to defend myself or my actions or how I so I have to worry not just defending myself but how I do it. If I'm like go over it, they think it is too much. uh, so I definitely cried a couple of times, to be honest. I called my mom, hey, I got stabbed, and when she said, my dad's hand was shaking when he found out. He just like burst out crying from the doctors the next day. And there were some like really upsetting things that some people said. um, I remember in school, uh, having a messed up face, and the teacher asked like, hey, what did you do to yourself? And I was like, I got stabbed, and thanks for asking me, from the whole class. One guy asked me, why are you so stupid to get in the fights? And I yelled at him like, if I punch you, are you getting to fights or you got attacked? And one girl asked, oh, were you drunk? Were you provoking people? Like, and this is what girls get. Oh, were you like uh, dressing too provocatively, or like you're flirting, and this is like victim blaming. No, I didn't provoke it. I tried my best to avoid it. The fact that I had a couple of beers has nothing to do with. I wasn't like provoking people, and that this also made me cry when she was like, "Were you drunk? You were provoking people?" Because it's like this is like saying, "Oh, you probably fucked around and find out." Um, it was really upsetting, and I remember after this happened, so my jaw got broken, and I got told from the doctor it takes like up to a year to fully heal, and I shouldn't get punched again because thank God it's in place. If it gets dislocated or something, it might be a dangerous surgery. And this, and of course, added that I was under the impression that one person beat me up. It really gave me a lot of anxiety. Like, oh my God, what if I get provoked again? And I'm, of course, I'm not fast enough to let to move away from a punch. I get punched again. I had like a lot of anxiety about and fear about it, and didn't even went out at night for 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 a time. After a month, I went to like a self-defense course. It was Krav Maga, and I immediately told the instructor, "Look, man, I'm not here to like for you to show me slow motion things. I know how things work. I experienced this." And I told him I wanna. So I don't want to play around. I don't want to have fun there. I want you to like mimic situations of the seriousness that when you get numb from fear. How do you handle it? Because all these self-defense courses showing you how to ditch like getting stabbed in slow motion, and you lead the knife away and stuff like that. That goes down the gutter when you filled up with adrenaline, and it's not fun. It's like your life is on the line. And I asked him like, hey, how do you handle that? How can we mimic this in this environment? And immediately I went to like on a, not a beginner course. It's a, so advanced course, but I lasted for a month. I absolutely hated it. I hated being around these feelings and everything. It had some use, and for example, this whole thing that you should just run away, which if I would have a defense self-defense course before this happened, I might just like immediately like run away or after the fight, which I didn't had this idea when it happened. And for many years, I was dealing with like a lot of anger, especially since they got away. I met the chubby guy, I think 2 years later. Uh, he greeted me like we're cool, and I had fantasized so many times that if I see him on the street, I'll just beat the shit out of him. And of course, I didn't. And I remember I was with a girl and just like kind of yelling with her that I should have just beat the shit out of him, and she was like, "Oh, but you should get in trouble on other case." I met several times the other guy, and of course I couldn't help but look aggressively at him, and he was just like like provoking me, like, and these triggered like maybe days long fantasies about smashing his face with a hammer, or attacking him was failing, or and I get beat up again. Then I go home, get a knife, and stab him, and I get into prison. Watched because of this. I watched prison documentaries that I would make revenge and get into prison because of it. I was filled with like revengeful like fantasies constantly, and I just couldn't accept this injustice that they got off with like probation, and I read in the court document that time going by, because all these cases takes years to eventually complete, was something that could lighten their sentence. But for me, time going by didn't decrease my fantasies of smashing their face with a hammer. Uh, and this whole probation thing, that it was like, oh, this probation and this sentence could deter them to repeat this offense. Well, actually, didn't. The chubby guy, already did something before this, and he still didn't got actual jail time. So the whole like justice is like, oh, you were bad, but don't be bad again. But what about me, who like this happened with me? What about punishing them for this? Like nothing. Sue them. But we're not in the US or anything that I could like have significant money out of it, and you pay for the lawyer and then maybe you can get the money out of it, maybe not. So uh have this. And just like I also did try some NLP therapy, spent some money, didn't help. Uh, and then I left by with this anger, and then later I started working in tourism, and unfortunately after COVID things has changed, and a lot of times I was like kind of maintenance and do this and that type of guy at the company. We had apartments, and unfortunately a lot of times really low life people like prostitutes, they're pimps, drug addicts, usually methamphetamine addicts, were there, mostly gypsies. And gypsy is a kind of a word to describe a behavior. This is a degrading word that they use to each other also. Uh, so I was usually the guy who collected the keys after like checkout and all, and often I found like passed out, drugged up gypsies, or the prostitutes usually worked at night and still like laying, and the cleaners asked me that to like throw them out, and this led to like a lot of aggressive like situations that kind of re-triggered this whole trauma. Once I twisted out the key from the gypsy's hand, and because he didn't want to give it to me, then I look around in the room, and next thing I see, I turn back, and the knife was on the table. It's a demonstration that don't mess with me. And I didn't move or anything, didn't tackle or anything, and because on one hand I was a bit numb, and on the other hand I kind of felt that this is just a demonstration. But from that time, it was like the gun is always loaded, a gypsy has a knife. And this gave me a lot of fear also when I had to deal with methamphetamine addicts, and I remember there were like three gypsies on knife uh, in the on the table. So like this gave me a lot of anxiety and a lot of fear daily. And unfortunately, I'm really bad in like finding another job, so that's why I just left. That like when you're methamphetamine, like I know briefly how meth works. It increases dopamine by 15 times, and so these people don't have anything to lose, and I have everything to lose. They wouldn't hesitate to stab me, and this gave me a lot of fear and anxiety. I remember one occasion where this guy called me out, let's box, because how dare I try to like send them out. He told me like he was stabbed me in the neck. And there was one memorable event in 2013, December 31st, when it was already noon and they still didn't move out. And I told the guy, this gypsy, to like, hey, let's move out. And he yelled at me that I will smash your face with this whiskey bottle, and he like drank the whiskey, and he was probably coked up, and I got so much of this adrenaline shock, man. Like I was, my heart started racing, and I felt like it's like a compressor that pumps blood in, like pumps air in my muscles, which are like these pneumatic springs. And consciously, I was like, I don't want to escalate the situation, but I went full Mike Tyson, man. I I had this like fear-based aggression in me. I was so scared that I went like my eyes popped out. I looked at him like I will fucking kill you, man. Like I don't really have an illusion that probably if you get smashed in the face with like a whiskey bottle, it's not like in Hollywood movies. It's minimum that it's brain damage down decades down the line, or I end up with like Schumacher or something. And I felt so determined that that won't happen with me, and I felt that was in a way in relatively good. It was definitely not an adrenaline dump. I felt really combat ready, and I was like, if we have a wrong move, this point of no return, that he will probably attack me. I had this plan in my head that I kick him through the drywall and I obliterate his face, and if he dies, he dies. I the fact of consequences with the law was just absolutely not in my head. I was like, what's the point of not getting trouble with the law if you become get brain damage? And this is the problem. This gave me a lot of stress. This like I either get hurt or I hurt them so much that I don't know if they believe me or I can explain that, hey, this was necessary. I was so much afraid. I'm already traumatized. Or if he dies, it's like, yeah, we know we are afraid, but you're still going to jail or some, I don't know. And I don't know, maybe the guy felt that I'm ready to kill him or something because he was yelling that, hey, calm down. And I was actually also, I was really tensed up and I consciously like tried to relax myself because I know that if your muscles really tense, maybe it slows down your reaction times. But so eventually, he just asked me, hey, do you want to come out and box? And that's when I kind of got to my senses, so to speak, that, oh, if I agree with this, I'm also like incriminated. And I was thinking about my mom and my much bigger goals in life than this guy has. I was thinking about my bodysuit tattoo finished and me being with a beautiful girl in some beautiful island, blue ass water, and I won't get this stripped away. And I was like, this work is not important to me. I'm like, fuck it. I just kind of like, no, let's chill down. And a lot of these people situations had this like avoiding trouble with like ego damage. I literally shook hands with this piece of crap person just to avoid trouble. And I kind of slightly upset because I retrospectively I kind of allowed, what if he does some trick on me and then punches me in the face. It still was hard to like mentally having this mental capacity to think like, what could I do. I was determined, or I was strong to fight, but I couldn't uh, didn't have this mental capacity of like examining the situation and what to do. So, and these events, uh, still I'm at a much better place now, still in the same company but at a hotel when way less these people come. I'm a receptionist, but I still have a lot of anxiety when at winter time when prices are cheaper and we can have reservations from these kind of people, and I have to tell them some bullshit, send them away, or when I come to my shift, I am there and they might have a deposit or do some damage. it just my mind goes at overdrive of like everything can turn into a violent fight that ruins my life because either I get hurt or I hurt them seriously. I definitely have this like I break their hands just so they can't stab me. And like I said, all these, even they are smaller, I assume the gun is always loaded. Scumbag has a knife, and that's how I treat them. So if the fight breaks out, I go from serious injury just to protect myself, breaking hands so they or twisting it out, and then having to explain to the police why this was necessary, and are they believing it or not? And like a lot of anxiety, lot of mind activity, a lot of theoretical scenarios on my in my head of like what could happen, what kind of fight could happen, and my coworkers know it. I tell them often about this anxiety and fear of like this could happen, that could happen. While maybe some other people just absolutely don't think like this. Well, meditation does help. I feel like from all these situations, through meditation, I was somewhat able to like handle this adrenaline dump. It still could happen, but every time I had these kind of situations, because of meditation, I had this like mental awareness, like, oh my god, I'm going into adrenaline dump, and I consciously told myself, be strong, be strong. The best you can do is be confident now, have a good posture, feel strong, feel combat ready. That definitely I could like turn this adrenaline dump around into like at least feeling stronger or like trying to give up this vibe of like you shouldn't mess with me. Uh, but I always feel like I have a lot to lose, and I saw this Jocko Willings video. He's like a badass Navy SEAL or something, and so I have a lot to lose, and these people don't have a lot to lose, and maybe it's better to run away. And it's not even about your ego being damaged. You're just like conscious that you have a better life to live than getting involved in these people's business. Um, but still, if I get punched, I, go frenzy. I don't know. That's all I wanted to say. It's 43 minutes. Thanks for watching, and I don't know. Curious what you have to say in the comment section.